The National Electrical Code, referred to as NEC, addresses grounding requirements for cord and plug connected equipment in Article 250. NEC 250.114 requires the grounding of cord and plug connected equipment with a grounding conductor. NEC 250.114c allows additional bonding of the equipment frame to the ground terminal of the receptacle. However, this bonding wire must not serve as the grounding conductor required by NEC 250.114a. In general, parallel grounding paths are not recommended for cord and plug connected equipment. The reasons for this include firstly increased ground fault current. Multiple grounding paths create a lower impedance path for ground fault current, which can increase the magnitude of the ground fault current. Secondly, grounding loops. If the equipment is plugged into a receptacle that is not properly grounded, creating multiple grounding paths can lead to ground loops, which can cause interference and electrical noise. Thirdly, increased risk of shock. In the event of a ground fault, the increased ground fault current can increase the risk of electric shock to personnel. There are potential dangers to an additional ground wire. Firstly, an oversized grounding conductor. If the additional ground wire is sized larger than the grounding conductor in the cord, it could bypass the overcurrent protection device in the cord, potentially creating a fire hazard. Secondly, improper termination. If the additional ground wire is not properly terminated or connected, it could create a loose connection or high resistance path, which could compromise the grounding of the equipment. Thirdly, risk of shock. If the additional ground wire becomes disconnected or damaged, it could create a path for ground fault current to flow through the equipment frame, potentially causing electric shock. There are no significant advantages to using an additional ground wire in this situation. The grounding conductor in the cord is sufficient to provide the necessary safety grounding for the equipment. Based on the NEC requirements and the dangers associated with parallel grounding paths, it is not advisable to allow the use of an additional ground wire in addition to the grounding conductor in the cord for cord and plug connected equipment.